Rethinking R&D, harnessing AI and TRIZ for breakthroughs. Just a quick introduction here. So my name's Steve Manny. I'm the Director of New Product Development for Silicon Containers. You can see a little bit of my education. I like to joke that I kind of hit both ends of the spectrum, the technical side on the engineering as well as the marketing side, and it made me a master of nothing. But we've learned quite a bit along the way. My professional experience, 20 plus years with Silicon Containers. For those who don't know what Silicon does, we're a major global packaging firm. I focus on the metal food can side. I think the easiest way to understand it is if you go through the grocery store aisle in the U.S. And you walk through the section of the store where the canned foods are, the soups and the vegetables and the fruit. About 50% of those empty cans are sold by Silicon to major CPG firms that fill them with their product. During those 20 plus years, I've got about 15 years in new product development. Although the education piece, I'm proud of that, and that took a lot of work to get through all that. The best experience has been hands-on training. I would never discourage anyone from exploring a career in innovation, because really it just takes mindfulness related to people and a creative mindset to be decent at innovation. It's funny, the hands-on training over the last 20 plus years is everything from fixing and overheating bearing on an oven during an internship to making line controls accessible and secure, designing a new conference room to be open but private, and building a new factory during a pandemic. All of those things require a balancing act between a technical solution and some type of consumer need that needs to be met. And that's ultimately kind of the fundamental here of innovation, is listening to customer feedback is crucial for new product development. And our purpose is addressing unmet customer needs. I think that goes for all new product development departments. It's kind of one of the fundamentals of all of it. Little background on the metal food can industry. It's not a infomercial on metal food cans, but I think it makes an interesting case study because innovation in this area is challenging. It's a mature industry. It's been around for hundreds of years. It has a strong reputation for food preservation, extend shelf life, great recyclability. It's a cost-effective manufacturing practice, and it's very scalable. We can make billions of things. But challenges to innovate are most investments in the canneries are paid in full. Changes can be slow and expensive, and there's bias and perception about what you can do with a metal food can. So I think it provides an interesting backdrop as we talk about innovating in general. And if we can innovate in this marketplace, we can innovate anywhere. So how do we counter the innovation challenges and add value? I think if there's one takeaway from all of this, is that I believe there's two universal innovation objectives, no matter what your industry is. One, it's important to deliver best-in-class customer service. It all starts with that. If you can't get that right, that's it's not going to work. And then if you're taking good care of your customers in relation to innovation, whatever bandwidth you got left, you can drive business growth with new solutions. That's when if you have a little space, you got some extra resources, you can go looking for new ways to add value to the overall market. But as we get into how do we utilize TRIZ in innovating and how do we get better at it? I would say this, success comes down to understanding customer needs. Unmet needs are often in the form of contradictions, and addressing contradictions is really the key to innovation and customer satisfaction. So I was looking for this great definition of contradiction. It doesn't really exist. It's kind of like the act of contradicting something. So it's probably best to give some examples. If contradictions are the key to innovation, we need to understand what that means. So we talked about two separate areas, right? The customer service and support, and the business growth. So let's take a couple examples of contradictions, and this will become a little bit more clear, right? So on the customer support side, if you're working with your customers to innovate, they may say something like, "We want to make the packaging lighter, but we don't want to sacrifice the strength. We want to improve the openability, but we don't want to lose the robustness. We want supply flexibility, but we don't want to lose the economies of scale," right? And on the growth side, an example of some contradictions might be, hey, we love the recyclability. It's it's got a cool sustainable story, but I'm not really sure we can justify the cost of the change. Or we love the aesthetics that you're bringing to the table here, but the lead time might not be fast enough for our marketers to utilize it. Or we appreciate the scale. Thank you for being able to make billions of these things, but I don't really need a billion of these things. I just need, a couple 100,000 of these, and the investment might just be too risky, given all that. So these are some examples of contradiction that if we want to be great innovators, we have to come up with solutions for. So to kind of summarize as concisely as I can make it, unresolved contradictions cause us to compromise. And over time, a compromised solution will lead to an unhappy customer. So as your customers are talking to you about things that are bothering them, that they don't feel are quite right, there is this there's this notion that we maybe dismiss those things as, well, that's the way they always are, or that's the way it has to be. I think TRIZ offers some opportunities to think outside the box and find solutions to those problems. And if your customers then become happy because you're able to do that, that's a much better state to be in. So I tried to give you an example, and it's a little hard to remember a time when we didn't have collapsible umbrellas. But when you think about what it was like before a collapsible umbrella, people wanted their portable rain shelter, for example, to be large and robust when they use it, and lightweight and small when not being used. So we compromise and find a good enough solution. So one would be inclined to say, I have an umbrella that's big enough to keep the rain off me, but small enough to fit in my closet. And we settle for some type of, size that's a little bit of both. But you see the contrast or the contradiction there. We want it to be both large and robust and lightweight and small. So the good news is that resolving contradictions by finding solutions that eliminates the compromise gives the customer what they really want and makes them happy. So the solution here, a very clever solution, and one we take for granted every day, is a collapsible umbrella. It's a portable rain shelter that is both large and robust and lightweight and small. And lucky for us, this kind of gets to the meat of the presentation here, is that TRIZ is a system that solves contradictions. So if contradictions are what makes us successful at innovation, then TRIZ is a system that we can deploy to help solve those contradictions. So I'm not going to bore you to death here with all the all the origins of TRIZ, and for those who understand what it is and know it very well, I apologize for in advance for oversimplifying it. But essentially, there was this individual, Heinrich Altschuler, back in the 1940s, who had this concept that many of these inventive solutions have been utilized or before, that there is this based on 200,000 patents that this individual and his team reviewed, he could identify common patterns in innovation, and that there's these underlying principles of invention rather than everything being a specific technology. And to kind of get to the crux of it, of all those patents, you could boil it down to about 40 unique inventive principles that encapsulated all things. And if you look at the umbrella example on the right there, some of the same inventive principles were utilized in making a better suitcase, and making a better water bottle. And you can see the similarities. So moving along, I'm going to keep this really brief. The process is pretty simple. It might not look all that simple, but it's pretty simple. So the first thing we do is we define the contradiction. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Simply put, what do we need to improve and what needs to be preserved? Okay, we want this to be longer or bigger, but we don't want to add cost. Okay, something like that. All right. So we refer to these 39 technical parameters. That's step 2, and find the contradiction, that best matches those two things: the area we want to improve and what we want to preserve. Once we select those parameters, we move to this innovation matrix, or inventive principle matrix, and we line up the boxes, the columns, and the rows, and we seek out the box that it defines for us. And in that box are a couple numbers, and those numbers can be referenced on a sheet as being concepts that might be useful for our particular problem. Okay. So to jump quickly to an example, okay, that's a little abstract, but let's go back to the rain example and just see how we might get there. Okay. So we define a contradiction. We need a versatile rain shelter that is spacious and sturdy enough to withstand heavy rain while being compact and storable when not in use. We pick our two parameters, the feature to improve, let's call it adaptability or versatility. We want to make it more versatile. And the feature we want to preserve, which is the productivity. We need to keep the rain off of us. Okay, so let's just say we settled on those two technical parameters for improvement and preservation. Reference the matrix, the concepts in the box. They give us 4 suggestions for inventive principles that might be useful for solving our problem. And one of these was number 6, we call universality, which an example of that is a Swiss Army knife. And as you look at the solution in hindsight of the collapsible umbrella, you can see how the concept of a Swiss Army knife might have been a useful trigger to help inspire the solution related to the umbrella. So how do we use AI and TRIZ to get to where we want to go, right? So TRIZ has been helpful in a well-established industry where many of the solutions or problems have been in existence for decades, unresolved. Encountering some of the same challenges, related to creativity to figure out these problems. They've been around. All the easy ones are gone. Let's put it that way. All the easy ones are gone. Only thing that's left is the really hard problems to solve. So what we're using TRIZ for is we're trying to find different solutions in different industries that might solve some of these problems that we hadn't thought about, because all the can making solutions have been exhausted, right? So maybe there is some, farmer in Iowa who came up with a solution to fix a tractor, for example, and that concept could be regenerated as some type of solution to solve this can making problem that we have in one of our plants, right? How do we access that? Well, by using TRIZ, we can come up with the different concepts, but turning those concepts to ideas is the challenging part. And what we found with the AI technology is that we can use Patsnap and other different AI tools to help us with the creativity piece. It is simple as putting it in the search engine that, okay, hey, going back to the umbrella problem, it kicked out this answer of universality. Can you come up with some solutions for me that utilize this inventive principle that might be related to this? And it's very interesting what it kicks out. Now, it takes a little time. It takes a little effort. TRIZ is not a magic box. It's not gonna take your problem run it through its filter and give you an answer, you're still going to need to have subject matter expertise. But the AI can help with the deeper level of thinking. Now, on the growth side, we've been using the AI to help generate and visualize packaging designs with AI-generated renderings, which has been very interesting. So it works for both for problem solving and also for new opportunity, new product development. So kind of wrapping up in conclusion, what truly matters, it seems a little complex on the surface, but really it gets back to the fundamentals. New product development centers on exceptional customer service. You need to take care of the customer. I gave that kind of long-winded introduction because it's funny. These things that we tussle with on the technical side and then on the sales side, they are interconnected, and it can't all just be all technical, and it can't just all be all sales. You need to meet in the middle, like all good things. They're best in balance, and balance is important when you're inventing new products. Addressing the unmet needs of the customer is essential. And that's why I put there, you have to run to the issues, not run away from them. You have to run to the issues, because those issues and those contradictions, when you find innovative solutions, it's where you're adding the most value for your customers. It makes your customers the most happy, right? So solving those contradictions and using these tools as a structured approach to help solve these issues for your customers is something we've been working on at Silgan, and also I would encourage others to consider trying. If anyone's interested, I give a shout out here to friends at Oxford Creativity. There's some wonderful people over there that do some really great training courses. I would highly encourage you to consider looking them up. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met, and they run some really good online and in-person training courses. Also consider, with the layering of the AI with the TRIZ, the Patsnap technology, the Eureka Air technology that we utilize has been helpful, and allowing us to take the TRIZ answers and workshops that we've run and try to canvas other areas of patented technology to find solutions, and continue to appreciate that work in progress as we try to get even better at getting outcomes with that. And the last comment I would make, anyone can utilize these tools. It just takes some initiative to make a difference. We want to solve contradictions. We don't want to settle for good enough. And I think that has a bigger meaning when you think about our society and the long-term benefits to our planet. I mean, we can use these tools and solve some really big problems for a more sustainable future. So hopefully that's helpful. I appreciate the time, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present today.
Thank you so much, Steve, for these incredible insights into the intersection between TRIZ and AI. Now, I know that we're running a little bit over time, so I think we only have time for one question. Now, I see a question over here about scalability. So how scalable is like the TRIZ method for small versus large enterprises?
I think it's infinitely scalable. I think you can use it in every application. What you put into it is what you get out. So whether you're running some small shop and trying to solve an everyday issue with either, you might even be interpersonal with your employees or some type of technical issue, you can utilize the same thought process for that. Whether or not you're trying to resolve the energy crisis across the globe and really think big picture about how we solve some of that. It's scalable. What you put in is what you get out. So I would not discourage anyone from giving it a try. And one other thing I would mention about this too is try to fight yourself from procrastinating with the matrix. One of the traps you'll fall into is you'll try to gold plate that search. You try to get it really, really dial it in at the front end. And, if it's not perfect, you don't want to push it through to checking on the matrix. I would encourage you to do it in a sloppy way. You run it through there, run multiple searches, try lots of different things, and just, try not to be so perfect, because trying to be perfect will scare you away from using the tool.
Makes sense. And do we have time to take one more question, Steve? I see.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Perfect. Yeah, I see a question over here. Is there a real world example of a solution that you've come up with using TRIZ that you're able to share with us?
Oh, geez. I got to think, I'm running through the filter of confidentiality here. I'll tell you one that's been on our mind. It's still a work in progress, but I think it's easy to understand. And, so I'll throw it out there. Think about the pull tabs on a can of soup. The goal right there, to make it easier to open, the easy solution is to just make it bigger, right? More to grab onto, better lever. But that comes at a cost, right? So that's a really good example where you would deploy TRIZ to say, okay, hey, that is a solution, and that does break a contradiction. But is that the best solution? Is that the most clever way? Is there some umbrella concept out there that would make that solution better, right? And those are some of the conversations that we have with our major CPG customers about using that tool to help resolve that for the benefit of the consumer.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information with us, Steve. And honestly, learning about the TRIZ, how the TRIZ method works, especially like around contradictions, it's really clear why TRIZ is like getting so much buzz, and it's really exciting to hear about its real world impact. Really understands its applications and intricacies. So thank you so much for joining us.